All right, so this is a lot to do in one cut, but I'm going to give it a try. If it's too much, I might back this out, raise it. I should plug this in, shouldn't I? That might help with the actual cutting. Now, let's see if this reaches, is the other issue. How much cord do I have? I have plenty, that's great. Okay, all right, here we go. Okie doke. Here's the other thing. You want to make sure that you're going against the grain. And in addition to that, I think I might just clamp this to the table, because holy shit, that is a lot of cutting. Okay. That worked, kind of, except for a very mildly terrifying moment, but it's all good. Too much at the front here. Well, that's done. All right. That's apparently, yeah, that's a little more than I would have liked, but it's good. It's fine. Just going to start with one side. Let me get this right, though. Is this right? This comes out that way. Yes, good. So, I cut this a little too deep, I think. The other side came out a little better, but oh well. This back part, I'm just going to align with the very back to front ones. Here. So, aligned with the back to front. I want to get that centered. And make sure that stays centered. Make sure this is centered top to bottom as well. And, ooh. There we go. Ideally, I would have done a little pilot hole here, but that should do. Is that right? Yeah. Fuck it, that'll do. Good. And there we go. Not too happy about that. Oh, wait a second. Oh no, okay. No, that's good. Oh, that's like right on the, oh, that's perfect. Why did I fuck this one up so bad? That's gonna bother me. Oh well. And that works, I just wish this was filled in. Okay, so for the RGB strip, I have this wire. I don't have a whole lot of it. I need a little bit for the top. I think I'm gonna have this to fill the gap. And I can use the rest. I probably only need like that much for that little job. And for the rest, this will come out. I'm gonna route a groove for this to sit in. And then this will go in the back to the console where I have the Arduino running the LED strips, and I'll have some slack for this drawer to move in and out. I don't know how much slack I need, but this should be enough. So did I just like, oh no, there it is. Okay, good. And then I just need to route a hole, like, yeah. Nope, that wasn't the wrong knob. I'm just stupid. That good? That's good. That looks about the same as I had it, but all right. So there you go. That works. That is done. Done. Now I can put this back into the machine. Something that's, kind of cool, because these rails are a little bit wider, they actually sit on that bottom panel and they'll just stay there with the pressure, and that might come in handy. What's not cool is that these rails, because they're a little wider, they sit on that bottom panel and it actually raises this by, it looks like maybe 2 millimeters. I don't know how wide the gap is, so I think what I need to do now is put the console in here and measure this both for parallelity, I guess we would call it, parallelness, and definitely depth. I need to make sure this is at the right depth when I put it in there. I want it to go all the way back and sit in those little rubber notches. And then somehow, if I trust that this doesn't move, that there's enough pressure on this bottom panel that I can get this to work, I might just start screwing it in. In the end, I had to file down the front board to let this sit a little lower. So the front distance between this panel and this panel is 11 centimeters. It's 12 centimeters, and in the back I was getting 11. I managed to get this not quite to 12, but pretty damn close. That's like 11.8. I could probably get it to 12, but I don't know that I want to have that much pressure on it. Either way, these back ones I am going to screw into the vertical holes, so I have some play should I need it. I'm not sure how I can fix that where I need it. I think I'm just going to put some double stick tape. I have some sticky tape just at the edge here, and if I push this forward, it seems to, more or less stay where I tell it to. I think maybe if I'd used something a little stronger or maybe a little wider, this could have worked a little better, but it's enough for me to mark this. That's one. Okay. It's not exactly a straight drawer, but I'm going to call that a drawer. Now, we just do the same in the front. And I think, it looks like, and just take this whole thing out. Yeah, this is what I was kind of worried about. Okay, so this, so something either widens or, Okay, so how do I fix this? I think I need to put washers on the other sides. Yep. Ooh, that tightens considerably going in. Oh no. Oh no. Oh. Okay. And there you go. Now I have a drawer. And as somebody once said, it doesn't slide in as well as it ought to. Honestly, I think this is fine. I may fiddle with that later. If you can't make it perfect, make it adjustable. That's what I always say. That's what someone said. But let's, for now, organize everything in the back, and then I'll just have to wait for the screen. This is the RGB cable that's going to come off of the drawer, and I did it in a way that it sort of has some give. That's about the right length, and this needs to come into the the Arduino. Then I'm going to have these two inputs. Here I might have another one at the top, I don't know. Also, I have this LED, but this goes to my MOSFET. There it is. Right, okay, so here's what I need to figure out. I have this wire, which is connected to the mains, and so long as it's connected to the mains, whether or not this is on, whether it's on or off, this will continue to have power, which means the Arduino will continue to have power, which means the LEDs, this button, the marquee, everything that needs to sort of sense motion and react even when the machine is off should still have power. And the power strip is controlled with the button. I think I have that right. But mostly I want to lay all this out and make sure I have the right spacing, the right setup, understand where the MOSFET goes, for example, stuff like that, how to attach these, etc., etc. All right, let me do this wire thing for now, and then we'll get to the fun stuff. Sound, speed. Okay, so no, it's fine. I'll figure it out. So this is the bulk of what I need prepared. I just need the power strip. That's going to go under here. Then I need to wire my Pro Minis. So this gets connected to the 5 volt, one extra set of connectors gets connected to the 5 volt, and, well no, some of this will get connected to the Arduino. I need to figure out how much goes to the Arduino, how much I need to wire independently. That can't be right. Ground, 5 volt has a 3 volt, but I don't care about the 3 volt. Oh, the mic. Right. So the microphone gets connected to the 3 volt. Forgot about the mic. Where the fuck do I put the mic? Well, I have to find a place to put the mic. Oh, and the button. I have to wire up the button. I think that's about it for now. That's a pretty good start, I'd say. Good afternoon's work. What am I forgetting? Something, I'm sure. The fans. Yeah, this stuff is all going to get too hot. I have the power supply for the amplifier, for the Pi. The Pi itself gets hot. These power supplies get hot. The screen, it has its own power supply or adapter or whatever it's called. I don't think there's any way getting around that. But now that I have everything in here, I can sort of figure out better the layout. It'll actually have to go a little bit higher. So that's good I didn't do that earlier, because I would have just set it right down there. But that's no good. So all that can wait until tomorrow. I want this to be a little bit further in, just so I have a little bit of clearance. Don't want to snap the plastic either. Fuck. Okay, so I got the Raspberry Pi This is the keyboard, this guy, the speaker, the amplifier, which I'm going to talk about in a second because more issues. And the monitor, and I think that's it. Plugged in, I heard that click. On. Excellent. Ooh, no, that's a good song. Anyway, it works. So I think they both work. I think the speakers and the quote-unquote subwoofers, I think that's a good idea then. So I'm going to put those in there next time I take the console out. This amplifier has a little remote, but the remote only works with this little infrared sensor. I would like for that infrared sensor to be in the front. First, I think I'm going to solder some LED strips. All right, so I spent all of today getting these LEDs soldered. It's a bit of a mess. I had to measure them, cut them, solder them. I had to resolder 2 of them because I'm an idiot, but fine. So 2-second push should turn the LEDs on. 2. Yeah, there you go. This goes up here. I haven't stuck them in case I need to rewire or resolder something. Actually, let's see if I can just tack this end. And that's what it'll look like. Oh, it looks a lot better live. But, yeah, there you go. It's going to be a little more diffused. So right now I'm in color mode. So if I push this, quick presses, it should cycle through. That's a little jumpy. So these are a little attenuated. The green's pretty powerful. The blue's pretty bright. But there you go. Those are the colors until it gets to my approximation of white. Is this it? Yeah, I think that was it. Maybe this is it. No, it was that one. So you push it again for 2 seconds and it goes to sound mode. But the microphone isn't hooked up yet. I have the microphone over here. And I am kind of curious. The 3 volt. 3 volt should be right next to the 5 volt. What? Oh, Jesus. Yeah, that makes more sense. Okay. Oh, there we go. Okay. Cool. All right, that works. In fact, there you go. Lights are up. Last mode, hold for 2 seconds. You get the motion sensor. Motion sensor is not yet plugged in. I need some longer wires for that, so I'm gonna set that up now. And then I think I'll call it a day. Tomorrow, the monitor. We're getting there, folks. All right, so the bottom is over there, like so. I mean, I really, really don't want to have to buy another monitor, so. Fuck. Very, very carefully. Now you'll notice that I'm actually writing on the plastic that will later get removed. But I figure this way, if I do something absolutely stupid at this point, I can still fix it. I don't know what that might be. There's a million things I can imagine I ought not to do, but it's the ones that I can't think of that I'm most worried about. Oh wow, that's on a slant. Oh shit. All right, well that just got complicated. At least it'll be the same the same distance either side. Is this on a curve too? God damn it. Who designed this crap? So, I think I'm going to use these guys. Should probably clean that up a bit. I'm going to drill these holes through, and then I think I'm going to use these insets and these long screws, and these are just going to get tightened into the panel. And that should even make this adjustable. That might not be long enough, but failing that, I have this threaded bar that's pretty much the same idea, and I can make this pretty much as long as I need. I'm not gonna lie, this whole thing scares me. I can see a million ways in which I don't even know if this monitor works. I've been manhandling it like for the past couple hours. Oh, okie doke. Let's do it. There we go. Fuck. I also don't want to scratch this. There we go. All right, take this out for now. So I got the screen done. It's installed, kind of. I'm going to paint the plastic to cover this border and possibly this border as well. I need to make sure that this is at the right height. I can adjust a little bit from behind. But as far as centered, it's centered. As far as squared, it's square. It's in there. I kind of manhandle it. So I'm really, really hoping that it works. I've plugged in one controller because I know that it's a little iffy. Let's start with the LEDs. And we have good color. So this is with the power off. It's just connected to the mains. Now we connect the power. Good sign so far. Okay, and now we turn on the Raspberry. That might be a little annoying. And we should have boot up. Come on, come on. Come on. Yes. And there you go. We are now in the menu. All right, so let's try a game. Super Nintendo Metroid, shall we? Yes, we do have sound. We have very faint sound. Well, that's interesting. All right, Gotta get the hang of these controls, but okay, I kind of remember this. Ooh, cool. Screen works. I didn't ding it up too bad, I guess. That's good. And these are just cheap little PS controllers. Okay, good. That works. Oops. Exit, exit. Okay, I also need to fiddle with the screen settings. Sharpness, contrast, some color. I never used that on this monitor before. Okay, so I remember this being a little glitchy, but the gameplay being better. Obviously, it's a Raspberry Pi. Okay, I'm just gonna generally call this successful. I'm gonna fiddle around with some of the settings. Yeah, let me do that. No need for you to watch me bumble around through that. All right, good. So we've come to the troubleshooting portion of this whole endeavor. So a few issues. I need to wire the iPack with Twister on it, Twister OS, and I could probably use that, download the iPack software, and just do it straight from here. The problem is, when I tried to input the second controller, these 4 buttons don't work. Also, this button doesn't work. This button does work. These 4 work, that works. I think these 2 work, but there are a couple buttons that just don't work. And I think it's because of those clips. I don't really have the right tools for it, so I need to take this out. I need to take this out anyway because it won't fit through the door. I think once this is out, I'm gonna move this in there, and that'll be where it stays. And we'll continue filming from the other room. But the problem with that is that there's a lot of stuff attached to this panel, and I may have to take all of that down. This strip inside the drawer is gonna get epoxied in, so I need to put a connection after that, the same as I did with the top panel. So I need to put some connectors there. What else? I need to switch the feet. I need to finish this trim. All of that I can do last minute. Then there's the nickel plating. I'll get to that. Actually, before I do any of that, I'm gonna run this one more time and note down exactly which ones are and are not working, because that will be immeasurably helpful. All right, so I'm gonna turn it on one more time and just take some notes on what I need to do. We got the monitor all done. Ugh. Here she is. Not the prettiest, not the most accurate, but I'm gonna call that a success. Now we need to put it in. Balls. I don't want to get fingerprints on it, although apparently it's already scratched. How did that happen? Well, I'll deal with that later. This goes up, and this goes in. That should be right about there. Good. It's because these things are kind of dirty. What is that? That is a proper scratch. Fuck. All right, well, And it's dusty on the inside. Fuck. All right, I'm gonna have to take all of this apart. I think the monitor can stay in. Also, I can see this is sort of warping. I think I tightened that screw a little too much. There we are. Okay, that's not bad. That one's very slightly warped. Let's get these in here first. No, it's fine. Okay, that works. So, just got to plug it in, and then I can better test what the buttons are doing. I haven't yet tested that they all. I tested them with the tester, but I haven't tested them with Emulation Station, and I should probably do that next. That one as well. That, see, so it kind of sort of flashes. Did I move the camera away from the keyboard? God damn it, I've been like talking about stuff. Jesus Christ. All right, let me try that again. I'll edit this together, I hope, in a way that doesn't seem too crazy. Okay, so button staying on is no longer a problem. So it sometimes catches, but it's rare. It just did it. There, you see that? See? So it kind of catches this one as well. That'll kind of catch the player 2 start button, but it's rare. And if you're not looking for it, no. Don't add that to stuff. Ah, shit. This is a cool game, by the way. But even in motion sensor mode, I think it has to do with the Arduino cycling through the programming, but I don't know. And see, that sometimes catches, but generally speaking, they do what they're supposed to do and they stay off. I don't know why. Also, I need to finish doing the this stuff. T-molding. I need to finish putting the T-molding. I'm not sure how much I have. I don't think I have enough to go all the way around both sides. So basically I'm going to start at the bottom, work my way up, and see where it is that I get to the halfway mark. Because I want to use all of it, and I think that'll be a relatively accurate way to do it. Quite a lot has happened since the last time. I haven't been so great about catching everything on film, but I did want to talk about some of the last little updates. Stools, of course, not very important for the actual build, but adds a nice touch, I think. So, I have my little label on here, my tag, whatever. I replaced this bottom part with another part that my friend, the same guy that cut out the rest of this, sort of cut from other pieces. I had him cut a slot so I could fit the RGBs in there, and now I got to put a piece of plexiglass so you don't touch it when you're pulling the drawer in and out. The same plexiglass strip I'm going to do for all of the lights, and that will sort of diffuse the light a little bit more. Also, I managed to get the fans in there. The fans are basically always running. If it's plugged into the wall, the fans are on. The fans are running on the same system that runs the LEDs, and the LEDs in the lights. And I can show you a little bit better. Let's get a little, oh, kind of, yeah. Let's get a little closer. So there you go. So those are the LEDs in the fan. So right now it's on the music react mode. Blue-ish, rose, I guess. I don't remember what these are all named in the actual program. Red is fine, red is red. Now, let me show you from inside the machine. The door was the only really piece of wood that was missing. I've added all of like the schematics, but not really important to this video. So let's look a little at the wiring. Let's focus that some. Basically, I have the power supplies, the two power supplies. This top one is 12 volt, the bottom one is a dual rail 24 and 5 volt. Then I have these two MOSFETs. There we go. This button here, which cycles the LED strips, is run off of that MOSFET, and that is also connected to the PIR sensor. This one here only runs the LEDs in the button. But both of them are connected to the Arduino because they have to give signals to when to change the colors, when to turn them on, turn them off, and the marquee as well. The marquee actually dims a little bit. So that's what basically this one MOSFET is doing, is running the marquee. Now, the Arduino has an RGB hat. That's what those three colors are. That's the hat that sort of tells you on board what the strips are doing. And technically also the fans, but the fans are not connected to the Arduino. The fans are connected to these three MOSFETs here. So these three MOSFETs run the RGBs off of the fans because the fans are 12 volt, not 24. I know, it gets confusing. Over here, we have the Raspberry Pi and all the Geek Worm box stuff. I have the case, the 78, the X78708, fucking don't remember what it's called. The power supply hat. It's got, there's a whole other video on this box here. But that's all the Raspberry Pi stuff. It's got a hard disk in there. Right next to the Raspberry is, and I don't know if that's visible. So here's the Raspberry and the Geek Pi. This here is the amplifier. The amplifier I had to modify, and I put the infrared sensor that uses the remote. This remote here controls the amplifier, and the most important part is this mode button. So the mode button turns it from Bluetooth to line, except I ran the IR sensor, I desoldered it, and I stuck it on these wires, and I ran it through to the monitor. There you can see it better. So this little dot right here basically is a bit of paint that I scratched off so that the IR sensor that's poking through the back will read this. So if the screensaver had sound, you would be listening to it now. Ooh, here's a nice little detail. So this is something no one will ever see probably. So these handles that are meant to allow you to pull this back and move it around are nickel plated and etched pieces of copper that I etched my logo onto, and kind of the name of the machine. They look very similar to the marquee, which itself is kind of a play on Evangelion, which many of you will have immediately recognized. So MANUFACTOTUM instead of Evangelion. The orange lettering is supposed to be reminiscent of Polybius, the word Polybius, not the actual lettering of the original, quote unquote, original machine. But that's a little detail I thought would be nice. So the other last little thing is this trackball. I don't know if I can show you from the inside. Aziz light. More or less. All right, and it's basically this big square thing up here. That's the joystick that I had to sort of finagle to get it close. I had to take the metal plate off of the joysticks to get it that close together. Basically, long story short, that is no good. However, there is a trackball that iPack, that Ultimark sells, and I wasn't expecting to get it so soon, but it finally arrived, and here it is. It's this giant thing. Now, you'll notice that this giant thing will not fit. That is simply too big. Luckily, I managed to open this and find that it's basically two little circuits that read the movement in the spinners, and that's all I need. And I think if I do this right, I can get the circuitry to fit into that trackball, and just keep this trackball. This trackball fits in the console. I just need that circuitry to plug into the iPack and read the movement of this ball. And that way I can keep the clear ball. I can have some LEDs in there because this used to light up, and I may have plugged it in backwards and burnt the LEDs, or I may have fused that circuit on the iPack. So that's my last little project, and everything else has really been kind of troubleshooting specific games, getting the ROMs to read those buttons. Again, I have a video on that, but that is my complete arcade build. Thanks for watching. You made it. Congratulations and condolences. My apologies for some of the editing. I know these are really long and kind of tedious, but I wanted to get the whole thing on film. I do want to do a quick epilogue, 5-10 minute video talking about some of the things I didn't show, some of the things I said I would do and didn't, some of the changes, modifications, and some of the updates since the many, many moons it took me to edit this series. It was a learning experience for me, and I promise my future videos will be a lot better. So look for those too. Until then, thanks again. Stop by anytime, and hope to see you again. Bye-bye.